Last time I finished a career mode as Schalke back in 2021, we left them in a pretty good position. We saved them from relegation and finished 9th in the Bundesliga. But this time, we've rescued them from the 2nd division and we finished 7th, meaning we have qualified for European football. I couldn't leave this team just yet, so I had to see how this squad would get on in Europe, and that's why we're playing Season 3 of the Schalke career mode. Let's continue to fix the Royal Blues. Welcome back to Germany and welcome to our 2nd Bundesliga Season 2. Last year we finished up in 7th place, which means we have qualified for Europe, but I'm still not quite sure which competition. It doesn't matter if it's the Europa League or the Conference League. If we want to do well in it, we're going to need at least 6 new signings this summer. Our budget is actually quite small and our squad is aging, but this is also going to be our final season of managing in Germany. Of course, this is the first episode of Season 3, so that means we're going to be covering the first few months of the season, just like we did in Season 1 and 2. But you might have also noticed that this video is a bit longer than those episodes, but that's because we're only doing 3 episodes in this season. Today I'm covering July all the way to October, which means by the end of this episode, we'll get to see the club we've built together playing in Europe. But before we can do that, we have to rebuild yet again. As I said, our squad is getting quite old, and to make things even worse, 3 of our centre-backs are about to leave the club. Lindelof and Callas are not big deals, but Akpoguma was actually in the Bundesliga team of the season last year. 2 of our reserves are also retiring, and there's even interest in some of our young academy graduates, Simon and Schrader. The first thing we have to do is strengthen that defence though. In the first week of July, we actually signed 3 centre-backs with different profiles. Musa Niakite is the pace and the long throw guy. He can also play some pretty good long balls. We signed the American centre-back Maloney. Really, he's a centre defensive midfielder, but with some retraining, I think it will help us have a bit better possession build-up. Schoppner is also a defensive midfielder, but when we retrain him to be a centre-back, he gives us height and aerial ability that we haven't really had at any point of this career. Thankfully, it's only going to take about 2 weeks for them to become the best centre-backs that this club has had in about 5 seasons, and in that time we actually got a huge bid for Niklas Simon. We did try and negotiate an extra $1 million, but in the end we had to settle for only 100,000 more than the original offer. The great news is that we've sold a bench player, and we've got £13 million to sign a first team replacement, so this one transfer could basically define how good of a season we're about to have. Of course, to replace Simon, first of all we looked at some central attacking midfielders. First up was Lorenzo Pellegrini from Roma. He's highly rated, but expensive for a 31-year-old. I'm a big fan of him, but I do think we can't really afford him. Next was the young regen Logan Thompson. He's an American, but probably also out of our budget. In a couple of seasons, he's probably going to be one of the best in that position in the entire world. In fact, we actually looked at so many attacking midfielders, we spent a couple of hours going through every single option. We even found out that Bayern Munich now have an 86 rated 18-year-old Nigerian striker. With a market value of 200 million, yeah, he's probably not in our transfer budget. Because of the lack of playmakers on the transfer market, I decided it was probably time to consider changing back to our Season 1 tactic. That had just a single playmaker. It was Eunice back then, and I think Fitz could probably do the same role now, but it also had 2 strikers instead of just the 1. That means instead of a new attacking midfielder, we can get a new striker. Do you know who already knows this tactic perfectly from Season 1? That's right. We can now loan in Morstedt from Chelsea, and that gives us enough money to strengthen at right wing or right wing back instead. With this extra cash, we decided to splash out on Egger from Elversberg. He was actually playing in the very first match of this series, when we played a friendly against the club. He was quick back then, he's a better defender and a better attacker than Becker, who was also our first ever signing in the same episode. With our squad starting to look a little bit more finalised, we played a pre-season game against Udinese from Italy. Now in this match, there was a lot for us to learn. The formation and new tactic don't seem to really be working that well. In fact, the entire match was just pretty bad. I'm going to blame it on the weather, and that's why it ended goalless, but I don't think the formation really helped at all. Who knows, it does take a while to actually learn the new tactic, so maybe it's just part of that learning process, but it won't get much harder for us to learn than in our first 2 games. The first match of the Bundesliga season is against Hoffenheim, who are 100% just going to aggressively press us and try and foul us the entire game. After that, it's Bayern Munich, who have actually sold Osimhen and are now playing Hassan, that Nigerian striker that I mentioned, who is better than Mbappe was at the same age. Let's just hope that our new defence can hold on, at least in these first 2 games. It's nice to see Morstedt playing for Schalke again. He wasn't too great in pre-season, but we have some hope that he could come good early on this year. Botheim tries to pull it across to Morstead. Is that the beginning of a very good strike partnership? Well, I certainly hope so. Botheim, he's got Egger making a run. Is he onside? Oh, I don't think he was. Morstead, good tackle. And we've got Egger potentially making an overlap. There he is. Has he got enough pace to get around the defence? I think he does. This could be a debut goal for our wing-back. Into the box, across the goalkeeper. And we've missed the target altogether. That is not what we wanted from Egger. Grilic and Niakite misses the interception. Amdouni, and it's going to be a good save there from Leno. That's a really strong hand. 2 seasons, and he's not really let us down a single time. Corner coming in from Hoffenheim. Niakite meets it. Sambi heads it across the goal. Not a great header. And Nsoki's going to hit one. Thankfully, it was a pretty poor shot. Grilic into Amdouni, and he's got behind our defence. We have a little bit more pace. Can Niakite get across in time? Amdouni hits it. And we're behind. We didn't quite have enough sprint speed there on Niakite. Maybe a couple of years ago he could have made it. But we've already conceded 1 on the first day of the season. Amdouni again. He jinks inside, jinks outside, hits one. We just can't contain him. That could have so easily found that far post. Puchaz, Fitz. We've got Morstead making a run. Can we get there? We can't. Arthur Chavez just intercepting it. Fitz making a run. We got Morstead again. That's a really bad pass, but the run was not great either. Hoffenheim on the attack. Amdouni's in the middle. Niakite's just ran into Tom Huku, and that is going to be a penalty. It's maybe the return of the silly penalties we had a couple of years ago. We're going to dive top right, and Amdouni goes there, but it's just an absolutely perfect penalty. 2-0 down. Let's hope it doesn't get any worse. Grilic, one-on-one with the keeper, chips it over Leno. He was stuck in no man's land, and we can't cover that. 3-0 down, really not what we wanted on this first day of the season. Can we at least get a consolation? We can't. That corner pretty much sums up our entire match. The passing not on it, the decision making was awful, and that is why we've gone 3-0 down to Hoffenheim. So, maybe things are about to get better. Okay, maybe not. We're playing against Bayern Munich, although they did lose their first game in the season 3-0 to RB Leipzig. So there is a chance that maybe they're not in very good form. And if we look at their team, I'll be honest, they're only about 80 rated. We're about 78, so we do have a decent chance. Just for this match though, we're going to switch back to the old tactic with the 2 attacking midfielders. We still could use another attacking midfielder, and we might look at one on deadline day, but if we've got any chance of beating Bayern Munich, we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, with the 3-4-3. Diaby, he's got a lot of pace. Can we cover? He cuts inside Maloney there. That was risking a penalty as well, but we got away with it. Puchaz out wide, cuts inside Virgil van Dijk, goes outside Upamecano, and Van Dijk just gets back in. Any other defender, I think we're probably having a shot there. Egger gives it to Botheim, gets around Upamecano, 1-on-1, surely this is a goal, off the post, and the rebound falls to Alphonso Davies. We are so much more threatening now. Karaman tries to 1-2 it with Botheim, but he gets around Upamecano, no he doesn't. Again, just too much strength. Good corner from Pavlovic, Virgil van Dijk forces a very over-the-top Leno camera save, and I don't think the counter-attack's on. So, half-time, and we have kept Musiala quiet, which is so important when you're playing against Bayern Munich. Karaman's really not doing it now. This is his 3rd season. He's about 34, so we're going to give Pollat a chance in the second half. Puchaz, counter-attack. Not really the pass we wanted, but I think Egger's going to get there. Van Dijk doesn't have the pace to get across. And that is 1-0. A very unexpected combination. The wing-back to the wing-back. And Egger actually does get his first goal of the season in our second game against Bayern Munich. Okay, we really need to hold on. But Koeman has come off the bench and he's got so much pace. Maloney tries to tackle and we just collapse him. Yeah, that is a penalty all day. That's 2 penalties in 2 games. Musiala's going to take it. I think he's going left. He goes down the middle. That's 1-1. They're always the most annoying goals to concede when you give away a penalty that really should not have been given away. Oh my god, what a pass that is. And Diaby's got a lot of space. Niakite is going to try and get across. And Diaby hits it and it just about goes over the bar. But there's so much threat coming from Bayern Munich. De Witt into Fitz. Can we get around their defender? We can. And De Witt gets some space from Van Dijk. It's a very unexpected goal scorer yet again. Egger and De Witt. I don't think anyone would have expected that. And we're 2-1 up against Bayern Munich. Egger can't quite keep the ball in, but that's fine. We can do our 3 Serbs. We've got a bit more pace on there, and hopefully we can hold on to this win. Musiala tries to play through Koeman. What a tackle from Maloney, risking the red card. And Sieb tries to do some tricks. He's found a gap. Can Maloney get across? He can. Good bit of defending. Clear it. We were holding that up no matter what happened. And there it is, a 2-1 win. Surely that is going to kickstart our season and get us moving on up that table. So, I know a lot of managers don't like to look at the table until they've played 10, 20 games. But after 2 games, we're mid-table with 3 points from 2 pretty tough matches. I think I'd take that though, because if you look at the next 2 months, we really don't have the hardest fixtures. We've got an easy enough cup game. We're playing Leipzig. They're the only big German team that we're playing against. And I think maybe we could slowly move up the table more and more as we go throughout the season. But before we can get into September, it's time to look at the transfer list and see if there's any players we can find on deadline day. I did quite like the idea of signing Embolo, but yeah, I don't think that we really do need another striker. Instead, I think we could really use Filip Ugrinic. This guy is very physical for an attacking midfielder. He can play centre mid as well, so he works in both the formations we're switching between. He's cheap enough for us to sign, and with 6 million plus Emil Højlund heading over to Switzerland, we have a new attacking midfielder in our team. We also loan out Johannes Siegmund. This is the guy that got injured last year, and I'll be honest, deadline day nothing really happened. I think the biggest news was that our Europa Conference League matches were finally confirmed. We're probably the 2nd or 3rd best team in that competition, so we have a real chance, and we're playing against one of the few that are better than us in Betis, but that's not coming up for a few more months. Before then, we need to go back to the Bundesliga. FC Koln are a team that we both beat and lost to last season, so it could be a good benchmark to see how we're progressing against a team that finished in the top 10 only a few months ago. Botheim down the wing, and we've found some space. Could Morstedt finally get that first Bundesliga goal? He can't. Off the post, we have been so unlucky this season with the post already. Puchaz, come on, beat your man, pull it back. He gets to the byline, and we can't get the pass right. That was an easy tap in there from Botheim if we could. Luca plays it through to Lemperle, and we've got a few defenders back, but Luca gets on the ball. One shot, one finish. That is it. Their first shot of the game, in from the edge of the box. How many times have we seen that? Morstedt gets onto the edge of their box, and we can't pass it through to Botheim. Can we do something before half-time? Ego with the back heel. Sambi Lakanga into Fitz. Back to Botheim. It's a great block. But oh my god, we are absolutely crushing Koln, but we just cannot score a goal. The stats don't look very good, but 58% possession is insane for us. Puchaz into Fitz, chips it up, Morstedt, and finally we beat Schwaber. He outjumps his defender, and Max Morstedt using that physicality for his first ever Bundesliga goal for Schalke. Lemperle, can Niakite get across? He can, but that's really bad from our other defender, and Luca nearly found the top corner again. Can Ugrinic be the guy that gets us this win? Well, we definitely need one. Schopner loses it to Babadi, and Lemperle gives it to Luca, deflected off Leno, and then Hussein Basic is there. That is the kind of goal that just hurts everyone's morale. Conceding that late is really not good, but can we get back in it? We've done it before. Drexler to Lubicic. Can we press them? We've got probably 1 minute of game time left. Martel back to Drexler. No, they just kept the ball for the last 3 minutes. There was nothing we could do. And that is a 2nd loss of the season. 3 points from 3 games. Not really good enough if we want to match what we did last season. To be fair, if you look at the stats, we probably did deserve to win that game, not lose it. But who cares about stats? We only care about how many points we get. And in the next 2 games, we don't get many points. Another 2-1 losses. So this is our last chance to actually get any kind of win in September. In the Bundesliga, we have 1 win from 5 matches. In the Conference League, you only get 6. So if we don't improve our form and beat Brand today, then we're pretty much out of Europe at the first hurdle. Finner turns his man. That's a really nice pass to Castro, and Leno, we're relying on him even against these worst teams. Ugrinic cuts inside. We've got a few players that we could possibly try and through ball it, but we're just going to keep running. And I think that's Fitz in the middle. Can we find him with a low cross? We can, and it's a great save from the Brand goalkeeper. Puchaz, we're really relying on these low crosses. And finally, one of them comes off. This time, Fitz can tap it in. I think we need to be a little bit more adventurous with our play going forward. So that's half-time. 1-0. We were probably expecting more. If we look at the match facts, we've had 2 shots. They've just had 1. Kind of embarrassing for such a well-paid team. Enquiries tries to cut inside, but we've got Egger out wide. Oh, we were doing yet another low cross there. There was no doubt about it. How offside was he? Oh, that is so close. Opsal, Castro, our defence is nowhere. We're relying on Leno. Thank God we don't still have Karius in goal. And are they going to get one last attack in? I can't see it unless they long ball it right now. No, they're going to just calmly play it out. We actually won the ball. We possibly could have countered and got the 2-0, but we'll just take that 1-0 right now. We've got to win in Europe, even if they did pass us off the pitch. Who knows? That victory over Brann could be the catalyst that sees us finally moving up the Bundesliga. To be fair, the morale in the squad isn't too bad. Leno, Maloney, Niakite, Sambi Lakanda, Fitz and Enquiries are all very happy at the club. But I gotta say, if we're not competitive in this game against Leipzig, how much longer can Music actually hang on at the club? So, there's a lot of pressure going on to us in this game. We really do need a draw at least, hopefully a win. Let's see what we can do. Roberto gets it out to Semi, and what has Leno done? Oh my god, that is really not what we needed right now. He's just let the ball slide past him into the goal. He actually saved it forwards, but the spin on the ball or the wind or something has made that go into the back of the net. And Morstedt with a great interception from our long ball. They tried to chest it down. We're not got enough pace, so we're going to have to hit it. Oh, if that had found the top corner, that would have been justice for that horrible goal we just conceded. We really could use a corner goal. Oh, and we nearly got one. Schopner, there's header. Well saved by Golaski. Andre Silva gives it to Kubo, and there's a big hole in our defence. He smashes it past Leno, and that is 2-0 just before half-time. Morstedt tries to turn his man. He actually does get around two of them, but Yakel's there. I think that's going to be half-time. 2-0 down. We really need a comeback in this second half. We really need to contain Kubo. He has been performing so well. Morstedt back to De Witt. Hopefully this is the start of the comeback. De Witt into Morstedt. Oh, he was given offside, but I don't see how that was because it was only his hand and a little bit of his head that was offside. Andre Silva to Xavi Simons. Oh, he's got around us. He's doing step overs. He really didn't need to, but the finish was absolutely unreal. 3-0, not good. Silva, Roberto, Simons. This is only a couple of minutes after the last goal, and that is 4-0. Oh my god. Kubo into the box. 5-0. 67 minutes played. This has really been absolutely horrible, but Fitz, again, it gives it to Morstedt. We're 1-1. I think this could be 5-1. There it is. Finesse top corner. If only we did that a little bit earlier in the game. Maybe we could have held on to a 1-0. Morstedt to Boffheim. Really doesn't feel like it's a great performance, but Fitz wins the ball. We give it to Morstedt. If he gets a second, okay, well the score's a little bit more respectable now, but I'll be honest, I still don't see a future at this club for this manager. I think he has to go. I think that game is probably the end for Music. That's 5 losses in a row now in the league, including a 5-2 defeat in the last match. It's really not great, but the fact that we're joint bottom of the division is probably enough to fire him. He was really good in the second division, and last year was extraordinary, but he has to go. Luckily, we have the ideal replacement in line. And after 5 seasons at Real Madrid Castilla, their second team, 2 seasons at Rayo Vallecano, also in Spain, Raul Gonzalez decides it's time to return to Germany. He plays a totally different style to our previous manager, but I think he's exactly what we need. His tactic is less based on counter-attacking, more on using the wings. And that really probably isn't a great fit for a team with no wingers, but we can definitely throw people like Fitz out there, Becker or Puchaz if we really do need a little bit of width. It's not going to be easy for Raul Gonzalez, because we already have a lot of games coming up in this first month. We've got to learn yet another new tactic and hope that it changes our fortunes both in the league and also hopefully we can get a second win in that Conference League. So, would Raul's return to Schalke be as romantic as some of the newspapers were saying? Well, first of all, it feels strange to be using 4 defenders, but also, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how we can do with a different tactic. Let's hope that it does kind of reverse our forms and we get that new manager bounce. Oh, that was lucky from Walter Meeder, and Stiller blasted across the goal. I thought that was Nestling in the far corner for sure. Enquiries into De Witt, playing out of position as the playmaker, but that's a really nice pass through to Boffheim. Has he got the strength? He does. Gets through, and finally we score. How many times have we hit the post from that position this season? Well, Botheim does not miss. That is absolutely fantastic stuff. Stiller, edge of the box. Sambi misses it. Hurst fires from the edge of the box, but not very powerfully. Good save from Leno. De Witt gets taken out, passes the ball. Where's the advantage there? The referee here, really not on our side. Yellow card for Stiller for that, though. And again, what is this? They've just absolutely dived in, fouled us, and got away with it yet again. I've had enough of Stuttgart. And then that one's a foul. Larson up to Walter Mida into the box, hits the post. Niakite clear this. Egger clear this. Thank God we survived. Walter Mida playing out wide yet again for some reason. Diakon uses some of his acceleration, gets in. Niakite's nowhere, and Hurst just before half-time finds the top of the net. That is 1-1. Nothing we could really do to defend that. But things under Raul not going too badly so far at half-time. Hurst has been pretty dangerous, but Stuttgart are just really aggressive and actually quite hard to break down. De Witt passes it to Sambi Lakanga, puts it forwards, and he's been nailed. Surely that was Stiller a second time. He has been so dirty in this game. He deserves the second yellow card. What a dirty team Stuttgart have been in this match. They're like Hoffenheim, but on steroids. Fitz beats his man. Well, that's not the pass we wanted, but it's a good run from Sambi. I think Botheim was miles offside, but we can't finish it. Fitz turns. Come on, look at that. That is horrific. That is so aggressive. God damn. Fitz. Botheim through. Surely they're not going to catch him. They do. Sturgeon gives it to Chabot. Sambi. We've got Egger out wide. Come on, use some of that pace, Egger. This is why we signed you. Cut inside. Pass it. And Botheim's deflected, but gets the rebound. Thank God that has gone in. That is a bit of luck, and that is exactly what we needed. Raul's era, he's in the celebration. I love to see that. Raul's era at Schalke looks like it could be getting off to a win if we can just hold on for a few more minutes. Schopner passes it through. It's going to be intercepted. But Nmecha doesn't get forwards with it, so I think that's the end of the game. There it is. It's a 2-1 win for Schalke. Second win in the season for them. First win for Raul on his debut. Hopefully this could be a sign of things to come. So, on the back of the Stuttgart win, now it's time to play against Utrecht in the Conference League. We're going to continue with the same formation, but try some different players like Polat playing out on the left wing, and hopefully we're a bit more solid, and we also have a bit more threat against a worse team than basically any team in the Bundesliga. Greenwich, he saw Polat was out there. That's a nice bit of space for him. Cuts inside Polat. Oh, he tried a little bit too much. The pass or the shot was the right option there. Polat using those skills again. He gets away from Larson in their midfield. Fits from the edge of the box. 15 minutes. It's all Schalke so far. Corner from Sambi. We win the header. It could have deflected anywhere, but it deflects out for a goal kick. De Witt to Fitz. Can he get away from his man? He can. Can he shoot? It took just 22 minutes for us to get the first goal. An early goal is exactly what we needed. Now it's just about keeping that clean sheet and keeping it at least 1-0 and trying to get a second. Into the box. Greenwich there taking some real risk, but got away with it this time. Larson into Bosdogan, the former Schalke player. That's half-time. 1-0, and we've actually restricted Utrecht to 0 shots. We've had 64% of the possession. We've had more passes. This tactic's working absolutely amazingly against these worst teams in the Conference League. Polat trying to get through to Sambi. We've got the overlap out here from Fitz. Cuts inside one. Oh, I can't quite get the lucky rebound. He's the king of getting those. And that is a great tackle from Greenwich. We have Schroeder, the substitute, coming through the middle. Just finish this, Schroeder. And there it is, the young striker from the academy gets his first Schalke goal. And what an important one it is too, against Utrecht to make it 2-0. And again, it looks like Raul is off to a winning start 2 times in a row. Utrecht on their first real dangerous attack. Jonathas, his shot saved up in the air by Leno. And he catches it comfortably under pressure from the striker. But a 2-0 win. And I think that was actually Utrecht's first shot of the game. Raul, what a manager he could be this season. Could we go on to win the Conference League? Could we finish in the top half of the Bundesliga again? Well, I would say we're pretty likely to get through in the Conference League. The Bundesliga is going to be a little bit tough because of how bad of a start we've had. But If you want to see how we get on, then make sure you subscribe and stick around for part 2 and 3 of this season that'll cover the rest of the year. But no matter if this is the first Schalke episode you've watched or if you've watched all 13, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.